Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book, The Deficit Myth, a creation by Stephanie Kelton. The Deficit Myth, 2020, outlines the fundamental principles of modern monetary theory, urging us to reconsider our perspectives on budgets, scarcity, and the nature of money. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Stephanie Kelton, an economist and public policy professor at State University of New York at Stony Brook, has extensive experience as a political advisor and former chief economist for the U.S. Senate Budget Committee. Her works have been featured in renowned publications such as the New York Times, Washington Post, and Los Angeles Times. With 8 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book on StoryPlanet.net. To start, the text discusses a new perspective on money and prompts the reader to consider what they personally stand to gain or benefit from this new approach. The text discusses the concept of modern monetary theory, MMT, as a new economic approach that challenges traditional thinking about funding large government programs like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. MMT suggests that we can fund these initiatives by utilizing innovative economic ideas and embracing a more dynamic model of money. The text explores how MMT works through clear examples and explanations and challenges old assumptions about spending to enable bold political action. Key concepts covered include how MMT can help make sense of international trade, the source of money, and why certain financial constraints can be disregarded. Key idea number 1. The text suggests that the federal government should not approach budgeting in the same way a household does. Modern monetary theory, MMT, challenges the analogy that governments should budget like households, emphasizing that governments create money while households don't. MMT proposes the spending before taxing and borrowing, the STAB model, where governments issue money first, contrasting the traditional taxing and borrowing precedes spending, TABS model. Governments, as currency issuers, have monetary sovereignty, allowing them more flexibility in spending. MMT highlights that while governments needn't worry about deficits, they should consider inflation. Key idea number 2. Deficit spending is not significant, but inflation is a crucial concern. Government spending and deficits are debated in the U.S. Senate, with Senator Enzi advocating for spending cuts to address the deficit. However, modern monetary theory argues that governments should focus on balanced economies, not balanced budgets. Deficits can be beneficial, especially during economic downturns, as seen after the 2008 financial crisis. Inflation is a concern with excessive spending, but it can be managed through taxation and controlling the money supply. Monitoring inflation is crucial in fiscal policy, with deficits needing to be eventually paid off through borrowing. Key idea number 3. The national debt growing does not pose a real threat to the economy. A digital installation on West 43rd Street in Manhattan, the National Debt Clock, shows the U.S. national debt growing rapidly, reaching over $13 trillion in 2016. Despite its looming figure, the debt doesn't pose an immediate threat to the economy. Politicians often view it as a crisis, advocating for spending cuts, but the debt is not analogous to personal debt. It largely consists of U.S. Treasury bonds sold to raise money and is viewed in modern monetary theory, MMT, as a measure of dollars injected into the economy. Paying off the debt isn't crucial, as history shows that attempts to do so have led to economic downturns. Key idea number 4. Government deficits contribute to the population's overall wealth. The crowding out theory is a myth popular among policymakers, suggesting government deficits take money from the private sector, slowing economic growth. Modern monetary theory, MMT, explains deficits as contributing to collective wealth, not draining it. Government deficits can add wealth to the economy by increasing money in the private sector through spending. The key is ensuring this wealth benefits the entire society, not just specific sectors. Key idea number 5. Entitlement programs are sustainable if desired. In 2005, Paul Ryan attempted to privatize Social Security due to cost concerns, but Alan Greenspan suggested the government can create money to fund entitlement programs. Entitlement programs in the US, like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, are sustainable because they are paid for in US currency. The limitations are more about political will and productive capacity than fiscal constraints. Funding these programs through tax revenue creates artificial restrictions, but the government could commit to funding them regardless. When adequately funded, the focus shifts to ensuring the economy has the capacity to support expanded entitlement programs. Investing in resources like healthcare can benefit both citizens and the economy by improving quality of life and curbing inflation. Key idea number 6. International trade is nuanced and does not always result in clear winners and losers. The US trade deficit has been a focus for President Trump, but it's not necessarily a problem. Trade deficits are not inherently bad, and Trump's idea of using tariffs and trade wars as a solution is not effective. The real issue arises when domestic industries suffer due to money flowing abroad. An analogy of buckets shows how the deficit can be managed by refilling the domestic bucket with strategies like a federal jobs guarantee. Trade brings valuable goods and resources to the US despite the deficit. Key idea number 7. Real-world deficits are the ones that truly count. An idealistic economist in Washington, D.C. wants to address real-world deficits like jobs, savings, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and climate change, instead of just focusing on the budget deficit. Real issues like high unemployment, low wages, lack of retirement savings, poor health outcomes, and insufficient planning for climate change need to be key priorities for policymakers. Modern monetary theory, MMT, may offer some solutions to these pressing problems. Key idea number 8. MMT allows for the economy to be shaped according to our actions and decisions. On May 25, 1961, President Kennedy announced the ambitious goal of landing a man on the moon within a decade, emphasizing the need for resources without worrying about costs. Modern monetary theory, MMT, suggests viewing the economy as adaptable, emphasizing resource allocation and vision over financial constraints. Under MMT, as a currency issuer, the US government is not limited by money availability. By adopting MMT, initiatives like a federal jobs guarantee and climate change action can be funded, highlighting the focus on material resources and collective decision-making over financial concerns. In conclusion, modern monetary theory challenges traditional economic views by arguing that governments, as the sole issuers of currency, have more flexibility in spending. It suggests that governments can spend freely within the limits of available resources and inflation control. This approach offers potential for new and innovative solutions to economic issues. Additionally, there is an invitation for feedback on the content discussed. The text also suggests reading Humankind by Rutger Bregman for a different perspective on human history that highlights collaboration and cooperation. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.